Taz, you have talked a lot about reading the books. Before we dive in, because I read a little bit about this, but I just wanted you to just throw your input in. How different is the books to the movies? Because I know when the book came out, this is the biggest book so far. So how different is it from the movies?
Honestly, it's just longer, right? And so because it's longer, you get way more details. Sometimes you lose some of the action-packed scenes, right? Or you lose some of like the heartfelt moments. But I do think the movies do such a good job of like keeping the most special moments. Of course, it's only one or two times where the movie is actually better than the book. It happens, right? Like you lose some like the smaller characters, especially. I think you really lose them in the movies.
Okay.
You know who
100%.
one of my favorite characters is, and you
Cho
don't see
Chang.
her,
Cho Chang?
Professor Trelawney.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Okay.
I'm a kooky teacher. So and so is she. So you lose her. You lose like the choir director. What's his name?
The choir director? I literally just
Yeah.
finished reading Prisoner of Azkaban, and I promise you, I can't remember the choir
Well,
director.
he's like the short dwarf in the movie.
You can't say dwarf anymore, baby.
You can say dwarf.
I'm
I'm pretty
fucking
sure
with
you
you.
could say dwarf.
Small
In,
person.
And
in
no,
the
that's
whizzing
hard.
in the whizzing world,
No.
it's flipped. It's
Yeah, yeah.
they say midget, we say dwarf. I just wanted to say I don't want to step on anything you're doing in any comparisons, but do you think that this movie benefits a lot because it's one of those few movies where it's not like a movie based on a book where some people have watched it and not read the books. This is the type of movie where everyone who's watched it has essentially read the books and has that knowledge inside when they're watching the movie for the first time. They don't really explain the whole Marauders
No.
map, like Wormtail, Padfoot, Prongs, or whatever. They don't explain any of it. But just because I've read the book, I just realized I just subconsciously fill that information in so that when I see Wormtail going across, it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know what's going on. You really are watching the movie and for the first time and you don't have that background. It's a pretty weird scene like Lupin's reaction, like you don't actually know what's going on, and it's like Scabbers is a dude, and you're like, and they were best friends. Like it really is a logical leap, but when you read the books, it's just like boom, 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 makes perfect sense. Do you think that's an issue? Should count against it, or do you think that's a benefit to it?
Such a benefit because so a lot of Potterheads get so upset by the movie because the director he changes the genre. So of course, like the books are just like pure fantasy, right? When you go to Barnes and Nobles, when you go to the children's section in the library, they're in the fantasy and fiction section. But the director, he makes it a horror film. Like he adds a lot of elements of horror. So it's like these elements of like depression and sadness.
The
So a lot
Dementors.
the Dementors. So a lot of people get so upset because they're like, he fundamentally changes like the genre itself. I think because he changes the genre, you don't necessarily have to compare them in the same way, right? They can live separately from each other. It's like British readers have a totally different understanding of this book in general because there are British folk tales about the Grim and Padfoot, who is a
Oh,
black dog. When they're reading it, they're like able to make these
Huh.
connections with like the folk tales and the fairy tales that they read growing up. So like when like apparently Padfoot is a folk tale of a black dog that transforms and changes shape. You don't necessarily have to compare them. They can live differently, which is cool. But I
so
still would
so
say it's fantasy.
I haven't even thought about it from that perspective. All I was thinking when I was reading the book is every movie I watch after reading the book, I'm like, I want so much more. You guys, these movies are 2 hours and 30 minutes. And I'm like, where are all the details we're talking about? Where is the stuff that is missing from the book that should be in the movie? But I wanted so much more from the movie after reading the book. So much more. So I can definitely understand the folks who read the book and who are upset with the movie, not so much for the genre change, because I think it might be necessary in some cases. We'll get to it when we get to those scenes. I'm a little on the other end of from you, Taz. I don't see it as you can judge it two different ways. I actually see it as the book is much better. It's just much
Okay.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
and then all
future.
right. So before we dive into the scenes, I'll just ask a question to lighten the mood. How much would it take for you to get sucked by a Dementor? 10 seconds. 10 seconds. A little suck from a
Right.
Dementor. Like if someone gives you 100K, and it's like 10 seconds suck from a Dementor.
Of course
No,
I'm doing it. I'm 100%
100K?
doing it.
no,
Yes.
Yeah, I know you got
no,
student loans. I know you got student loans.
no, I'm
Wait,
not doing that. I'll die. I'll die.
It's a 10-second suck. That's it.
No, that I will die. That's the whole point. The mentors don't care. They don't
All right.
stop.
All right, 5 seconds.
Am I a wizard in this, or am I a human?
No, there's a
Or
wizard
am I
there.
a muggle? I'm a muggle.
wizard. There's a wizard like on hand to do the Patronus charm at 5 seconds. 100K 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Which wizard?
Neville
I
Longbottom.
don't.
No, it's
Hell
gonna be
no.
Ron. Yeah, we're all gonna die, bro.
Ron with the broken wand. All right. Let's get started.